Hello and welcome to TEC Bike Parts. As you can see, we've finally got delivery of our new Royal Enfield Interceptor. We've been waiting about 18 months now for this, since first saw it at the Milan show in 2017. I was quite excited when I saw it. People were saying, oh, Royal Enfield, you know, they've got a bit of a reputation for being all clunky, oil-leaking bikes. This is a brand new, clean sheet of paper designed bike. And when I found out the backstory of it, I was even more intrigued, because basically Royal Enfield have employed lots and lots of ex-Hinckley Triumph staff at their design centre to build this bike. They spent an awful lot of money on it, and you can see why, because they've got a huge domestic market that they can sell these bikes into. And the old bullet single-cylinder bikes were getting really well past their sell-by date now. They're going to struggle even in India to meet the emissions controls. So, like I say, we've been waiting, and give Enfield their due. They haven't rushed it to market. They've had a lot of pressure on them to get this bike out, but they've made sure that it was right before they brought it out. It's an amazingly low-priced bike for what it is, and people have been sort of a bit apprehensive about what it would be like, and I must admit I was pleasantly surprised when I rode it. I've read all the other reviews on it, and generally I have to agree with most of the things that people have said on it. I haven't ridden it that much. I've only ridden it about 100 miles or so, and I'm really impressed with it. Now, from the bike we saw in 2017, they have made a few subtle little changes, but a lot of the things that we saw and we noticed that we could improve on are still there to be improved on yet. I'll go around the bike in a moment and show you what's what. But there is a lot of parts on the bike that are, you can see they're made down to a price. But other things, surprisingly, aren't, which I'm really happy to see. The shock absorbers and suspension, although it's not a big brand name, they're actually very good. They've been very well sorted for use on British roads. The spec is different to the ones in India. We saw an Indian spec bike a while ago, and I was very unimpressed with the seat and various other things on the bike. Now it looks like they've upgraded the foam on the British seat. They've obviously listened to criticism, and the seat is actually very good and comfortable, so you don't need to upgrade that. A lot of the things on the bike are good, and a lot of things on the bike are that way because they've got to be for regulations. But we'll go over everything, and we'll talk you through all the things on the bike that we think need attention. We're well known for making parts and performance improvements on Triumph Hinckley twin models, like the Street Twin, the T100, the Thruxton, or whatever. And you might wonder why we wanted to make parts and improve this bike. Like I've previously touched on, this bike is basically the same design as Hinckley. It's actually quite surprising how many parts we make for Hinckley's actually fit on this bike. The engine, in fact, is basically, if you look at the exploded diagram of it, it's basically a Street Twin motor, but a mirror image. They've put the clutch and the alternator on either sides, and hence the chains on the opposite side as well. One nice thing is they put the 6-speed gearbox in this bike, which Hinckley Triumph didn't do on the 900. It's got the same slipper clutch in, same overhead cam arrangement with 4 valves per cylinder. It's very similar design. What they haven't done is haven't gone to water cooling. They've kept what Hinckley had on the previous gen model of oil cooling. They've obviously built quite an efficient motor to do that, because to get it through Euro 4 emission without water cooling takes some doing. There's not many air-cooled motors can do that. The injection system they've got on it, the EFI system, is actually quite sophisticated as well. It's a system by Bosch, and it works really well. I've tried this bike. It's slow speed, high speed, and it doesn't have the lumpiness lower down that a lot of the Triumphs do. I was very surprised to see. I'm pleasantly surprised, actually. I've tried it with different silencers on as well, and it still runs faultlessly. Very impressed with the round town and acceleration, economy, everything. So they seem to have really dialed the ECU in really well on this. Time will tell if what the reliability is like on it, but you're talking about Bosch components, so it should be pretty good. ABS works really well as well. Again, it's by Bosch, as you would expect. It works really well in conjunction with Brembo brakes. The brand it is an Indian subsidiary brand, but it's actually a Brembo design and Brembo company. It's just an Indian subsidiary, so they obviously get them cheaper in India, but the brakes work really well. In fact, they work better than the Street Twins brake. That's the Street Twin up to 2019. I haven't tried the new Street Twin, it's got the 4-pot caliper on, but it's certainly better than the old Street Twin. Now, on the brakes, they've actually upgraded the front disc from what the original prototype bike had. I don't know if anybody noticed, but when the bikes were originally shown, they had a solid disc on the front. The bike has now got a fully floating disc on, and it just actually looks a much better quality item than what was shown on the original bikes. And it really stops well. Front and back brake really work well. If you start to brake hard, you can just feel the ABS starting to kick in on the back brake because the back wheel's going a bit light. But you can really stand this bike on its nose in the dry. Haven't ridden it in the wet yet, so I don't know what the ABS performance likes in the wet, but I imagine the Bosch system, it'll be pretty damn good. Another thing which is very interesting, they've got the same Pirelli tyres on that the Street Twin uses and the T100. Now, I wasn't very impressed with these on the Street Twin. The front tyre's the same size as the Street Twin and the rear's slightly narrower. Now, this turns in much nicer than the Street Twin does, and it seems to have more grip on the front end, which is a bit odd with the same brand of tyre on. So unless they've spec'd a different compound, but I can't see anything on the sidewalls that would indicate that, it can only be down to better geometry of the bike, probably better fork internals, and the fact that it's got a slightly narrower tyre on the back, because that will give you better turn in on the bike. Maybe the 150 on the Street Twin is just a bit over-tired for the bike, and it seems to work better with the 130 on this. So it's always a point to bear in mind, but the bike really feels much better on these tyres. It gives you a bit more confidence. I was never that impressed with these tyres on the Street Twin, and a lot of people on reviews will sort of back me up on that one. But these, well, I haven't ridden them in the wet yet, so I reserve judgment on that, but yeah, I'm quite happy with those. That's the things we do like. Also, I like this nice heavy brace they put on the forks as well. That's a nice touch. A lot of bikes don't fit this on now, I don't know why, but it's just a nicely engineered looking piece of kit. 41mm forks, just the same as the Triumph use. I'm not sure what the manufacturer is. I think it's Gabriel in India who make them, but they look very similar to the units on Triumph. Looking at the front end, now this bike I spec'd with a black pack basically. You get a 2-tone paint job and you get black wheel rims, plus other 1 or 2 bits that are black on the bike. Now it was an extra couple of £100, but I thought it was well worth it to get the black hubs and the black wheel rims, because personally I just think it suits the bike better, and black forks and a black headlight. There's like I said, there's 1 or 2 things on the bike. What I was surprised at is they didn't put black headlight brackets on. I mean, I just don't know where they're coming from with these silvery grey things. They're the same headlight brackets they used on the Continental GT, and I think they must have a shed full of them in India or something, because they don't suit this bike at all. Same with the indicators. The indicators are really cheap and nasty plasticky things. I mean, that's one of the first things that's going in the bin, along with these headlight brackets. We've got some other headlight brackets to put on. I've got some nice little E-marked micro LED indicators, which when you put them on the bike you virtually can't see them when you put them on. They're coming off. Well, we're talking about things that are coming off. This lump of plastic here is coming off. Yeah, sorry, I better punt you down so you can see. Whilst we're talking about things that we're going to take off the bike, we're going to remove this whole bit of sketchy plastic here. Feels like something that's been made out of recycled plastic. We'll be removing these things that just peel off. I know you need them for regs, but they look horrible. Probably going to change the levers. We're going to make some CNC adjustable ones for this. We make fork adjuster tops for these to fit, but they won't fit on the Interceptor with the standard bars because the bars are too close to the tops and the forks are through the top of the yoke. If you drop the forks through the yoke, you can fit adjusters on, but you may find that the bike geometry is too high. We haven't experimented with that as yet, but they'll certainly go on the Continental GT 650, so we'll have them for that. You can see we've got some neat little headlight brackets to go on there, CNC machined. We do a few different types, but personally I think this type will suit the bike better with it being black. We do those in polished silver as well for bikes that are more silver than this one. We're probably going to do this rim in black as well, because I just think there's too much chrome going on this bike. It doesn't really need that on there. Handlebars, we're going to try and get some weight off, so we're going to put a set of our fat alloy bars on, taper bars, obviously we need to change the risers to do that as well, and we may lift the risers a little bit just to get it right. The bar position is really good on this bike. I don't really want to change the bar position, it's just going to change the setup and get away from all this chrome on here. Another thing about the black bikes, you get black mirrors as well. Mirrors are quite good, but one's higher than the other for some reason. I don't know, I think this mirror may have been bent in transit, but it's actually much closer to the bar than this one is. So I don't know what's going on there, if it's just the way it's meant to be, or if it's been bent. But I'm probably going to be doing away with these and either using bar end mirrors or some little alloy mirrors like we normally use on, again, to save some weight, look a bit nicer. These are just a bit accessory store type thing. Now that's probably all the things we're going to change on the front end, and I think that'll tidy it up. We want to change a few of the fasteners as well, because some of them are, a lot of the fasteners are really nice, nicely plated Allen heads, but there's just one or two who've just got a hex head and it just looks wrong. It doesn't seem to match in with all the Allen heads, soft heads, sorry. Engine wise, on this black bike, I'm pretty sure we're going to do these side casings and engine cover in black. Going to redo it either in super black or satin black. I just think on this black style bike it's just a bit too shiny to go with it, as is the chrome exhaust system. We're going to make some various options on the exhaust. We've got a couple of options on the shelf now that we can use. I'm going to whip the silencer off and I'm just going to talk you through that now. Right, that's the silencer whipped off. Boy, are these heavy. Now you've got a catalytic converter in here, and obviously lots of baffling, but this has got to be one of the heaviest silencers I've ever felt. I mean, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on the scales now and see what it weighs, because I'm absolutely shocked how heavy this is. Almost 5.2 kilos for a silencer. So you're talking 10.4 kilos, nearly 10.5 kilos for two silencers. And I think we can do a little bit better than that. There's going to be a few options on exhaust systems for this. We've got a couple that are ready now and some other ones that are on the way. We've got a system, a silencer that looks a little bit like this, full stainless and brushed, with an absorption baffle on, so they're basically straight through. Now the beauty about the silencers on these is because the cat's in the silencer, when you take the silencer off you actually decap the bike. So you save yourself a lot of hassle than you do over the Triumphs where you have to start stripping the cat unit out. Silencer off, it's decatted, as simple as that. So this is not the exact silencer, but it's a very similar style to what we'll be looking at putting on. They're going to be ready in about a month or so, but they're in the process of getting made. We'll probably be making a shorter version, something like that as well, which for like the like a sportier version bike, if you're looking at the Continental GT, you may want to look at that. And they'll have a removable baffle system as well, so you can get them tuned into what you want. That's what we'll have in stainless. Now on the shelf now we have a silencer which is basically a straight through, quite loud. And now these come sized correct to fit on this pipe, because it's a bit of an oddball pipe, but they come ready to fit with the proper bracket and the proper sized clamp and everything. All that's in the kit. They're ready to bolt on. A pair of those is 95 quid with everything included. The only thing we haven't got at the moment is something to hide this little part they've left on the front pipe. You could trim it off and put something over it, put a clamp over it or something. If you don't want to take it off, maybe we'll put some sort of heat shield over here. A lot of silencers you're going to have this problem with this lump they've left on the front pipe. Now, we are going to make a new full stainless system. We just haven't decided which way we're going to do it yet, because it's not that straightforward on this bike. What they have on this bike at the moment is they have some what look like large bore pipes, but they're not. They're actually double skinned. There's a slim pipe inside. Now, what we found working on basically the Hinckley motor, which is the same as this, if you don't have a balance pipe in the front end, you lose a lot of the bottom end power. Now, this motor actually pulls quite well low down, but we can get more bottom end power, which is what most people want. More bottom end and mid-range power. We'll be able to make a much lighter system if we make it 2-to-1 or put a balance pipe in. Now, unlike Triumph, who lifted the engine up fairly high in the chassis to put the cat underneath, and also the cat was a crossover to give you a balance effect, they haven't done this. They've dropped the sump right into the chassis, so there's no way of getting a crossover underneath. At the front it's a bit of a problem as well, because they've got the cylinders canted forward and the radiator's there and the frames are and the rails are in the way, so it's really tight to get a balance pipe at the front. And ideally you want a decent length of front pipe on these before you get the balance pipe to get it spot on. So we are looking at various different ways. We're thinking about high level pipes. You can't really bring a high level pipe up this side if you want to retain this side panel, because you need to be able to unlock it to get the seat out. So without doing major surgery there, it's going to be hard to do that. Maybe 2-to-1 up the other side, we'll look at that. That may be a bit more a better option. People tend to like a high level pipe on the right hand side just for looks when it's on the side stand. But another alternative is to lose the centre stand. It's not such a drastic thing. The Continental GT doesn't have a centre stand on anyway. As you've got bobbin mounts on the rear swing arm, and the advantage you would get of either having a balance pipe across underneath here at the back, or having a crossover for a 2-to-1, I think that may be the way we go. But we haven't started messing about with that yet. We literally got the bike yesterday. We want to get it running, get it on the dyno, do some work. We're probably 3 to 4 months away from getting some sort of prototype exhaust made up on that, because we've got so many other parts to make. But anyway, that's what your chrome pipe looks like. Nice and loud. We're going to do some run-by videos. In fact, what we're going to do with this bike is we're going to do a series of modification videos, because we're going to do an awful lot with this bike. We're going to obviously do the things first that we showed you on the front end. Maybe you'll get that in this video, I think, of the indicators and the headlight brackets. We'll be doing something with the back end, the backlight, because that's absolutely hideous. We need to get rid of the indicators and the backlight off here. Now, we have sort of thought about tail tidies and whatever. We need to get the back end off and have a look. A lot of people customise these, have chopped the frame. We want to try and do that because people, obviously with a brand new bike, are reluctant to start hacking the frame. So we want to look at options where we can do it without hacking the frame. So like I say, we'll get this off. We can maybe look at a mudguard delete kit where you can have a tail tidy without the mudguard. These are all things that now we've got the bike we can look at. Well, we're down here. One thing that did impress me with these wheel rims, which I wasn't expecting at all, is they're actually tail-on anodised rims. Tail-on alloy rims that are anodised with stainless spokes. You're talking about quite an expensive spec there if you're going to get those wheels built. So for the extra, I think it's £300 that you pay to get the black rims and the black kit and the two-tone paintwork, I think is really good value actually. But everybody though, and some people like shiny. If you go for the chrome or the silver bike, or the orange crush one, you're probably going to want the silver rims and silver forks and this, that and the other on the bike. Back to the exhaust. This is chrome one, obviously it goes with the steel. It's just mild steel chrome, which is exactly the same spec as the rest of the exhaust system. And it goes to work together well. Like I say, we'll give you a sound of it running later. But we also have available, I'll just whip this off. These in black, because we get asked an awful lot for black, and this bike's going to be virtually blacked out if we do the engine casings as well. Now you see, the front pipes aren't black, but what we can do is wrap them. We could just get the chrome taken off and get them VHT blacked. That would be an option. But as we're not really going to keep these front pipes, what I think we could do is just put these on, and we do rolls of titanium or black coloured exhaust heat wrap, which gives that sort of brat tracker look. So we may just do that, and it'll also have the extra bonus of covering this little bracket up as well. So I think that's probably what we're going to do with this bike, with it being a black bike, until we get the new exhaust system made. But as I say, it's going to be an ongoing thing. We may change track tack. The ultimate aim with this bike is, once we've done all these small modifications to get the bike looking like we want, first of all, we're then going to make things that the people have been asking us for. We're going to make a luggage rack as well, obviously off the standard bike, because most people with a luggage rack want to fit it on a standard bike. But we're going to go around and junk all this sort of stuff, it just literally pulls off. Anything that pulls off a bike should be off anyway. And we'll get rid of all this plasticky junk and whatever. Footrests, don't like this. This is just horrible mild steel junk. The foot peg, this one doesn't look too bad, it's straight, but if you go around the other side, it's actually about 10 degrees bent up. It looks like the casting's out of alignment, which does not look good. So what we may do, this hanger here, we may make a new style of hanger plate to go on here with multiple footrest mounting positions, where we can use our standard alloy footrests and lever sets. And you'll be able to mount this and the footrests in different positions. Again, early days, we need to get onto that and get that sorted out, but watch this space, that should come soon. Right, I think I better get on and start taking a few bits off. So I've removed the headlight rim. Basically all you need to do is unscrew this little clip a few turns, and then the headlight unit pops out. Then you can just unplug your headlight connector and pull your side light bulb holder out. I've loosened this bolt out to check the size, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some slightly shorter domed Allen head bolts in, which are stainless steel, A2 stainless, with some stainless washers, with the new brackets, because I think those will look much nicer on the bike than hex head bolts, because nothing else has got a hex head bolt on. And they're a horrible galvanised finish as well. They're not the best. So anyway, we're going to do that. When you put these on, obviously you've got to be careful, because the handed, it's an offset here. So I'm putting them on that way, so that will be this side. I'm actually going to use a slightly longer bolt in the bottom of here, because I'm going to make a small bracket to hang the indicators off. Now, as you can see, these are E-marked, they're perfectly legal for use, and they're really, really bright. If anything, they're brighter than these. But when they're mounted on the bike, you can see they virtually disappear, because they're clear lensed and they're black on the back. And these are not expensive. What you have to remember when you fit LED indicators, if you've got bulb indicators on your bike, is you're going to have to put a pair of resistors in as well, either in the front or the back. I normally fit them in the back. Another reason I'm doing that is I'm going to try and get this headlight as uncrowded as possible, because eventually we want to build this bike up as a street scrambler, and I'm probably going to put a smaller headlight on. So I want to try and get rid of as much of the stuff out of here as we can. because it gets a bit tight in a 5 3/4 shell. At the moment there's tons of room in there, but like I say, we'll keep it as minimal as we can in there. So I'll get these brackets off. What we need to do obviously is disconnect the wiring off this indicator, and there's an Allen key in the back, an Allen screw in the back. We need to loosen that off. The next thing we need to do is loosen the clamps on the top yoke. There's one either side at the front and one at the back, and then we can hopefully just loosen the top yoke off and slide it off enough to get these headlight brackets out of the way. I'm not knowing until we try. Important thing is put something nice and protective over the tank, because if you drop it you can guarantee to chip the paint on the tank. So I'm going to do that now before I forget. So that's it there. I've unscrewed the top bearing screw to get the top yoke off and slid it off carefully. Careful because the bearing comes loose, so you make sure your front wheel's supported. You pull the handlebars off, and then you just loosen off the Allen key on the back of your headlight clamps and slide them off, and then have these ready. Make sure you got them the right way up to slide on, and make sure you get them the right side of your cables and that. Not a big worry, because you can just unscrew the fitting and take it off if you get it in the wrong place, and then you can slide the clamps up and down to suit. Okay, so the next stage is now get everything where you want it. Now these brackets actually have an offset on them, so if you find that they're canked in or canked out slightly when you put them on the sides of your headlights, because for different widths of fork, you can have to actually offset it by turning these over. And if you use them on a smaller headlight, you can actually use them on the inside of the clamps. So you can put it in without having to use too much packing on it. So that's the top yoke back on there now, with the new bolts and the headlight brackets on. We've got the headlight in place there. You can see it's starting to look better already. All we've now got to do now is get it all in the position where we want it. Then we can either, I haven't made my mind up whether I'm going to hang them off the bottom here, or make some brackets off the top here and mount them off here. Basically, we'll see what we've got, something suitable to hang the indicators off. I think I'm probably going to put them about here. This is the brackets all fitted now. We've got the headlight put all back together again. It's all covered in finger marks there. As you can see, these brackets look much neater than the original horrible grey cast things. What I've done is I've made a couple of little drop brackets. Used a couple of longer M6 screws in here and made a couple of little aluminium drop brackets to mount the indicators on. I originally wanted to mount them up here under the clocks, but I do plan to do something with the clocks in future, so I thought it was a bit pointless, so I'd end up doing the job twice. Probably what I'm going to do with the clocks is either make a lay flat clock bracket, because a lot of people like those. It gives it the sort of brat bobber look. Try and maybe pull them in a bit more closely to the top yoke a bit as well. And by doing that, we can lift them up and lay them flat. And you can maybe get the headlight mounted a little bit higher than what it is as well. Headlight, again, like I said, we're probably going to be changing this to an LED unit, and probably a smaller diameter, something like a 5 3/4 inch diameter. But as you can see, those indicators, when they're not on, they virtually disappear. You can hardly see them. Compared to the, I'll show you what the originals look like for comparison. This box is ever grown with parts. So these hideous things, it was that way around, but they're quite heavy actually, those, even though they're made out of aluminium, they're so big and solid. They hold an engine in, never mind a headlight on. But these indicators, I just couldn't ride the bike with those indicators. I'm sorry, but they offend my sense of engineering. They're just horrible. So I'll let you see what they look like with them turned on. There we go. Right, I think we're about done for the first episode here now. We are going to be making several episodes of modifications on this bike, so we'll keep a lookout for future episodes popping up. If you like us on your YouTube channel, just take a like or a watch, and you'll get a warning when a new one comes out. We'll try and do one at least every week. Next week we're going to be looking at the
the exhaust system. As you can see, I've plumbed on, going for straight through silencers on the back of black. I think that black's going to look better on this bike for what we're going to do. Now, instead of taking the pipes off and getting them de-chromed, I don't intend to run these pipes for very long. It's just a stopgap, but it can show you what you can do to them. I'm going to wrap them with our titanium exhaust wrap. You can get black, but black tends to go grey after a while, whereas the titanium is just a nice sort of racer touch. So they come in two rolls that are designed to wrap one pipe each. I think it's about £5 a roll, it's not expensive. I normally take the pipe off to wrap them, but I'm going to have a go, I'll look at the pipe. I think I should be able to do them on the bike to save messing about. We'll have a go at that anyway, and we'll do a video on it. Hopefully in the next video we're going to address the backlight system, because obviously we need to ditch these indicators to match the new ones that we've put on the front. I mean, I hope you agree that the front end looks much cleaner now we've put these brackets on and ditched those horrible grey cast lumps. Getting rid of the silencers, other bits and bobs. We've lost the horrible black plastic extensions off the front. We're going to lose the one off the back as well. These things in knee guards, which you don't need. Reflectors off the front, other bits and bobs. We've lost about 8 kilos even after we've added the new parts on already, and there's more to come. So next week we're going to be doing that. We're going to be looking at the rear light, and if we've got time we're going to be looking at changing the handlebars to a set of taper alloy bars, which are considerably lighter than these. But to do that we need to fit larger diameter clamps. Again, we make those. The good thing about these is they have an offset mount, so you can actually offset them backwards or forwards, as well as haven't given you a good choice of lightweight bars. Now these look really trick compared to chrome steel ones as well, but they're still 7/8 at the end, so you can still mount all your standard equipment on. Like I previously mentioned, we're going to, probably not in the next episode, we're going to be looking at things we can do with the clocks to lay them flat or whatever. We're also going to be changing the mirrors to something a bit nicer and lighter again. Probably go for our all alloy bar end mirrors, which are much neater than this, but you still get very good visibility with them. Or as an alternative, if we want to keep the standard mounts, we might go for an alloy CNC machined mirror, which are really neat. Now it just depends on, they're a little bit shorter than standard, just depends what the visibility is going to be like on these mounts. We do an extended mount for them if you wanted to pull them out further, but that's something I need to mess on a bit as yet. So there's tons and tons of things we need to do to this bike. A lot of the parts are available now. They may not be on the website yet because we're busy rejigging the website. We're going to process of making a whole new website, and there will be a separate section just for Royal Enfield on the new website. We've just done a Triumph full parts catalogue, which is away to the printers at the moment, and we will be doing a supplementary catalogue for the Royal Enfield parts. If there's something you want and you can't see it on the website, give us a call. We are doing lots and lots of parts. We do have the exhausts in stock now. All these parts here that I'm showing you now, they're all stock items. The silencers we are making with a proper bracket so they mount straight on. No messing about, no drilling, no making spacers or adapters, anything. They were literally a 5-minute fit onto the bike, and what a difference they make the sound. When we get the bike all up and finished, we're going to do some videos of sort of ride pasts with different silencers on as well. We have got some stainless silencers we're getting made for this bike, and they should be here in a couple of weeks, the first pre-production prototypes. So again, you can give me your feedback on what you think, what you want, what you think of what we've done up to now. This is how we'll learn. We need the sort of customer feedback. You tell us what we want and we'll try and make it for you. And we're trying to get you to see what our process is of when we get our hands on a new bike, what we actually do to it to improve it. I mean, there's a lot of things we do know from Triumphs, that this bike is so like a Triumph. We know what it's going to need. But yeah, your feedback is important. Tell us what you want. Make comments, good or bad. We want to hear everything. Something you don't like, tell us about it. Generally, this bike is going to be a winner. It's very easy to customise. Parts aren't expensive. The bike is not expensive at all. It's the price of a 3-year-old street twin for a brand new bike with 3-year warranty. It's going to be a customiser's dream because it hasn't got CAN-bus wiring or anything like that. It's very, even though it's got fuel injection and ABS, this is a very, very basic bike for customising. It's designed to be fixed in back alleys in Mumbai, so it's easy to service, easy to fix. You can service it yourself. You don't need to take this bike to a main dealer. It will need regular oil changes compared to the Triumph because it's air cooled. It needs twice as many oil changes as what the Triumph does, but it's so simple to change the oil on this. But there's so many things that I can't mention in this first issue. Keep watching, we'll keep you updated, all the stuff. We've got an awful lot of stuff in the pipeline. Some we're quite open about, some we want to keep sort of semi-secret because we want to have a bit of impact when it comes out, and we don't want people copying us as well. And some things we're going to have design copyright as well on them. So keep an eye out. Issue 2 should be out in about a week's time. Like I say, put a watch on your YouTube channel and you'll get a reminder when it comes out. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.